From LaGressie, Staten, here on Forest Avenue, you're watching a special edition of In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone, and very happy Veterans Day to you. I'm Jaime Hixson. Usually you see me here with my friend Hector Boza. Hector took the holiday off so he can recover from his many health issues. Hopefully he'll join us next week, though. Now, because of the setting of tonight's show and the nature of tonight's show, we're not taking phone calls, but you can still see old episodes of ours on our YouTube page, and you can also see them through Facebook and Twitter, and you can also contact us on Snapchat and Instagram. Now, tonight is a special show because we have a special occasion to celebrate. Number one, tonight marks our 600th episode of the show. I want to take this time to thank everyone for their support in these 12 years of doing the show. It's been greatly appreciated, and we certainly hope to do another 600 in the next 12 years. Another reason why this is such a special occasion tonight is because the Staten Island Athletic Club is having their 50th anniversary gala here at the Staten. There's going to be some awards given out, and they're going to be paying tribute to a lot of the greats that have made contributions to long-distance running and to racing in general. So we're going to take a very quick time out, and then we're going to take you to the sights and sounds of the Staten Island Athletic Club's 50th anniversary gala in just a moment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeff Benjamin. I am one of the co-hosts tonight. At this time, we would like to begin our program with our parade of Olympians. So at this point, we would like to hear the Olympic theme begin as our Olympians, who are made up of 3 nationalities, march in. At this time, please remain standing as we honor the country of New Zealand by playing the national anthem. Of the United Kingdom. Before we begin the United States National Anthem, we would like to respectfully invite anyone who is a veteran of the United States Armed Forces to please join us up here. Please come up. And now if you will join us in the singing of the National Anthem of the United States. Marched out.
Very much, Bill.
And now if Great Britain would march out the colors. Finally, the New Zealand colors.
Kiwis.
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Bill Welsh, he prepared so many of us for life. He has trained very few athletes since 1965 at New York High School who went on to higher levels of competition, such as the Olympics, but he's succeeding in leading by example for all of us to be better people. Some of us have become husbands, dads, teachers, and coaches. Some still compete. And I think I can get a couple of you, unless you're going to go by your age group. Then I might be in trouble. All due to the example Bill Welch afforded us. I can go on. Those of you that represent the leadership of the Staten Island Athletic Club know why Bill deserves this. All of us here that have been influenced, saved by this man, knows it's just a tiny representation of what he has done for this community in the past 55 years. He's beat amyloidosis a few months ago, not able to walk, now vowing to be here to probably come without a cane or a walker for this award. So with that, I ask all of you, if Bill can do it, so can we. Please stand to your feet as I ask Coach Bill Welch to come up, receive this award on behalf of all of us, as you have influenced throughout your life. Ladies and gentlemen, my other dad, Bill Welch.
All I can say, thank you
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And it's not about me. It's about you. If I can do it, you can do it. And we're here to celebrate the Staten Island Athletic Club. We're just here setting examples for each other. And on that note, we have many, many people who are far greater than I am. You set the example, I simply follow it. I've been fortunate enough to be here for 89 years. Who knows how much longer any of us will last. But let us set the example for each other. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm here to present the House Squire Prize to Lou Berganzi. I'd ask him to come up and stand beside me here. So this is the man that made it all possible. He did it, and the track community really owes him tremendous debt of gratitude, because what he did can't be measured in words. The sport is here. It thrives on the island, thrives all over, but some papers, they don't cover it. Ours does. So with that, we're going to give this award here to Lou Berganzi, who did great things for all of us. And we give him thank you.
So I'd like to accept this award with great gratitude to the Staten Island Athletic Club, to my family and friends here tonight. I know there are many here who deserve the award even more than I do, and I thank them as well for all they have done and will continue to do to make track even better than it is now. And if I may, I'd like to finish with one last thank you. That's to my wife, Patricia, whose track career, as I recall, consisted of one race, which we won't go into tonight, but which ended her career very abruptly. Yes, there's something about, guys, you remember him, Art Granis, and the fact that he hadn't showered in a while. But she's allowed me to sustain my passion all these years, often by sacrificing what she wanted to do. Her support of me, our daughters, and our grandson Andrew deserves more praise and recognition that I can give them. So thank you all once again for this very nice honor.
So just a fabulous time to come again to Staten Island, and Jeff and your family, and well, this is a family, right? And it's pretty impressive and an amazing time and a visit, and it's you know, to be here with Jonesy, Steve Jones, and you know, mate, we go back, Tony Stanies, and six-time Olympic coach Tracy Sunderland, the creator of the modern marathon, half marathon with the competitor group and the rock and roll. Tracy figured it all out. And those years that we ran in Europe, and you know, a lot of people thought it was the race was the real race, but the real race was to get to the paymaster's office before Tracy took all the money. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our next recipient, and it's Special Olympian Dougie Patterson. Where is Dougie? Come on. Now I'm going to read this, Dougie. Doug's been a runner for over 30 years and is a member of the 4x100 metre relay state record team. Dougie has also competed as a Special Olympian in the 1996 Goodwill Games. At Susan Wagner High School, Dougie was a member of the undefeated freshman cross-country team. Yep. Where his coach was this guy, it says Jeff Benjamin here, but whoever he was, I don't know whether he was a great coach. A member of the World Summer Games team bound for Dubai, right? A silver medalist in the 5K National Games, and also named Time Athlete of the Year. Dougie, unbelievable. Now what I want to do is that, as an Olympian, Dougie, I'm going to put this bad boy on you. All right, now we should have that award, Dougie. Here. I just want to say very quickly, if I may, that medal has never been in its box. It's never been in a trophy cabinet. It just travels with me. And 2 weeks ago, I was in Mammoth Mountain in California, and I met Dave McCoy, who created the Mammoth Mountain. He's 105 years old, and I put it around his neck 2 weeks ago. It's got some good energy, and together with the 200,000 kids that have touched it. Thank you.
Well, thanks. So I'm Mike. I work for New York Roadrunners, but I'm also a proud SIAC member, and I want to present an award to someone who is sort of the quiet strength of the running community out in Staten Island. He's the type of guy who is incredibly philanthropic, has a good heart, and never says no. And I'm not saying that you should run to him and ask him for things afterwards, but he's the type of guy that will always figure out a way to make things happen for us. And so we want to thank him and really appreciate his generosity. Tony Galata.
Hey, no, Army. Thank you so much. I just really short want to thank the coaches that have helped me over the years, and that includes Art Hall, whose son is here tonight, and I appreciate him coming tonight. Thank you so much, Art. And Barry Bastian, who's not here tonight, and Coach Walsh, who is here tonight. And I really appreciate all the support over the years. Thank you so much, Coach. Yeah, thank you.
I'm here to present the Vic Navarra Service Award. Vic Navarra. What an amazing man, taken from us far too early, but who lives in all of us who love running and racing and people. What a wonderful, caring man who treated all of his friends as family and treated his family as we only wish we would. He died because he did right. Because he did what each of us hoped we would have had the character, humanity, and courage to do if we had been in the same position. It makes me so incredibly angry that the city and state and those that can and should accept responsibility for his fatal cancer have yet to do so, have yet to lift a finger or write a check after more than 10 years. But my guess is that of all the people in the world Vic would be the most understanding and accepting and forgiving of the situation. Because he really was that special of a man. Yes, naming the club's service award after Vic is incredibly appropriate. We were all blessed to know him, and I was especially blessed because while I may have left New York after 18 years here and gone back to California to create the Rock and Roll Marathon Series, I took the best of New York, and in this case Staten Island, with me, as Vic and his wife and partner Joanne were my start coordinators for all of my rock and roll marathons and half marathons from the very beginning in San Diego in June 1998 until he passed. And actually he never left us, as for years thereafter Vic was memorialized on every staff jacket, just like this one. With an embroidered logo, Vic Navarro, 1952 to 2007, an American flag and a fire helmet, and the words, Semper Gumby, always flexible. He was, is, and will always be the man for First Elite Racing and then the competitor group. And it is now my distinct honor to introduce the incredible Joanne Navarro as the first winner of the Vic Navarro Service Award. Not only is she the first winner, but Lord knows how there will ever be one of her equal in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, please everyone stand, you're doing good. And put your hands together for the Joanne Navarro.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. Vic and I both have always done this for the love of the sport and for our community. And we always had fun doing it. And I still have fun doing it. Thank you very much.
The outstanding Masters female in Staten Island Athletic Club throughout the years has been a member. She was a member for more than 16 years. She ran under 35 minutes for 5 miles, won her age group in many local and city races. The outstanding Masters female is Fran Messina.
Thank you, SIAC, for this tremendous honor. I think it was back in 1981 or 1982 when I was running up the hill at Clove Lakes and Victory Boulevard, and Vic Navarro caught up to me and asked if I would join SIAC. I told him that I had no intentions of joining the club, but he was a good salesman. And by the time we reached the top of the hill, perhaps, I said yes. It has been one of the best decisions of my life because I got to meet all of you and other runners. I would also like to thank Jeff Benjamin's parents, Audrey and Jack, who took me to Central Park races in the early 80s, as well as Andy Jurek and Les Helfman, who took me to these races in the later 80s and 90s. By their driving, I was able to run all distances. It fine-tuned my running and kept me focused. But most importantly, I would like to thank my coach and cousin, Mike Murata, who's here with me today. Who taught me the importance of pace each and every mile. To have patience and to run my own race. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, SIAC. I am extremely grateful. Thank you.
The outstanding male athlete was one of the Outstanding Male Masters Athlete, was one of the founding members, officers of the Staten Island Athletic Club in 67-68. A longtime competitor. We believe his membership lasted almost 40 years. In those 40 years, he broke 16 minutes for 3 miles, even in his late 30s. And in his 50s was nationally ranked by Runner's World and Running Times magazine as one of the best Masters runners in the United States. The Male Masters Staten Island Athletic Club Award is given to Bernie Wright.
Well, it's been a long time since I've been running, and when I first started in PS40, and they told me to go down to 12 Lakes Park and a 3-mile run, I couldn't believe I'd finished it. But I'm still running, and I ran, I'm 63 years old, I'm 71 now, and in 2010 I ran 5,980 miles for the year. And I just finished running nationals 5 years ago, at 3rd place in a half marathon down in Florida. And thank you for everything. It's been a great many years of running, and a lot of friends I met, and especially to Fran Messina. Every year we've been going back and forth in the age groups, and it's been one more year for us. So thank you.
Our outstanding male runner was pretty fast, though not the fastest, but he has endured the longest. A current member since 1986. He finished 3rd in the Staten Island Advance Memorial Day Run 5-mile race, running 25:52. He ran 3 miles in 15:02. He continued to run consistently in his late 30s. He won the Selleck Run. It is our great pleasure to honor Scott Lamort as the male open athlete.
Thank you, Jeff Benjamin, for the wonderful introduction you gave me tonight. I am very honored and excited to accept this special award tonight. My club president, Kristen Golett, told me the news on a Saturday morning from one back in August. My first reaction was, this cannot be happening. 2 weeks later, it finally sunk in. I took up this sport for one go. Every other sport that I ever played didn't work as planned. When I became a senior at Curtis High School, I wanted to prove myself that I might be good at it. That was to try out for the cross-country team. My coach, Bob Andrews, told me in order to run well, you have to practice every day, in and day out. A couple of weeks later, I ran my first cross-country meet at Van Cortlandt Park. The name of the meet was the PSAL Developmental 5K Run. I remember that pouring rain coming down that day. Here I was at the starting line, hoping to even finish. The result was breaking 20 minutes on a muddy course. When the meet was over, I was ecstatic and thrilled. This was the beginning of my long journey. 3 months later, the indoor season began. Every race I entered, whether it was either the PSAL Indoor Championship or Staten Island High School Championships, I finished 3rd both times in the 3200 meters. 3 months later, the outdoor season began. Again, my main events was 3200 meters. The end results were 2 third place finishes in both PSAL and Staten Island High School Championships. When this school year was ended, I decided to join the Staten Island Athletic Club. They had a great legacy of runners. For more than 30 years, Staten Island helped me learn by having knowledgeable coaches. Having them taught me of when to rest, heal, and proper diet. After running over 500 road races and at least 1,000 fun runs, my results were always encouraging. I made up my top 10 memorable moments of my running history. Number 10, Bill Welch's annual countdown to Memorial Day. Number 9, crossing the finish line, hearing Chariots of Fire by the Al Lamberry Orchestra on a Memorial Day run. 8, Super Pulse race party after Doreen Scamenti's 5K run. Number 7, winning the Guy Marais 10K in 1995 and 5 Mile in 1996. Number 6, Ellen Brennan Hearn pours a cup of water on my head up First Avenue past the 18-mile mark at 2005 New York City Marathon. Number 5, coming from 5th place, going to Merrill to capture 2nd at the 2005 Al Brownson 5K run. Number 4, winning the 2006 Souls run. Number 3, Staten Island Athletic Club, both A and B open teams finished the top 2 at the Memorial Day run in 1992. Number 2, getting the top Staten Island runner at the 2006 New York City Marathon. The number 1 of all is the award that I have in my hand tonight right now. At this time, I just want to thank several people who made my journey possible. Bob Andrews, Bill Welsh, Joe Sicilian Jr., and most important, my name, rival, and friend, Jeff Benjamin. Without them, their support, I wouldn't be here accepting this award right now. And thanks to all the recipients who received their awards earlier tonight, and I think their speeches were outstanding. And lastly of all, I want to thank all my family members who showed up to support me tonight. And I want my mom to come up for a minute, please. Mom. 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 Come up, please. Come up for a minute. So wonderful. She got me through everything that I didn't know in life. So thank you very much for everything, and I hope I support you another 50 years from now. Good night.
All right, so I am here to present awards to all of our presidents, current and former. This award is sponsored by Brighton Kiwanis. And for anyone who knows what it's like to be president of an organization, it's very often a thankless job. And so we are here tonight to thank the series of presidents that we've had over the last 50 years for their incredible leadership and inspiration in keeping the Staten Island Athletic Club as strong and vibrant as it is today. And so I'm going to read the names, and let's hold applause until the last one, please. First, the late Bruce Selman, Richard Wright, Bob Arazum, Mike Brennan, the late Vic Navarra, Virgil Bossum, Jeff Benjamin, Ernie Beach, Mark Vogt, Brian Foster, Mary Molsky Arazum, our current president, Kristen Golat, and our founder, Joe Jones, who I'd ask to come up and say a few words. Congratulations to all the presidents, and thank you.
The club has raised funds to support deserving student athletes in the form of college scholarships, and the new Brighton Kiwanis has played a strong role in this direction. I want to give praise to all past and present presidents for the wonderful community work, and to the many volunteers who have given their time, energy, and donations to our sport. And in closing, thank you for this wonderful gala. And I was told to say good night.
It is such a pleasure to see our dear friend Rod Dixon once again. It's wonderful to have you back here again. Hello, and how are you, sir?
Well, it's a hello and welcome and greetings from New Zealand, the land down under. And I've been fantastic, brilliant. In fact, NASA will probably want me on the next space shuttle, I think.
Having grown up in New Zealand, were there any athletes from your country that you looked at as role models?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we had athletes. Of course, we had Sir Edmund Hillary, together with Norgay Tenzing, the first conquerors of Mount Everest. But certainly 1936, the Olympic Games in Berlin, Jack Lovelock won the gold medal. beating Glenn Cunningham, the American world record holder. And we've had successive in 1960, Peter Snell winning 2 gold medals, and 64, 68 medals. So a huge tradition of middle distance running, world cross country champions. It's been a pretty amazing journey.
How does it feel seeing so many people here paying tribute to all of the honorees?
Well, it's just amazing. And what I loved, and I've taken this, I came here 2 years ago, and I understood the meaning of community. And this is a community that loves one another and that are bound by common interests and of course the love to help and serve their community. And so to recognize the people who have done tremendous things in this community is huge. And this is something that I take back to New Zealand and get people in New Zealand to honor the people who give voluntarily. You know, the volunteers, the teachers who teach our children, and the people who encourage health and wellness in the community. And that's what the future's all about.
If you had any advice for younger runners who want to be able to compete at the next level, what would you tell them?
Just, I think, listen to your coach. Be inspired by the people from before you. Listen and learn. My 3 favorite words are learn by doing. So be sure to understand the principles and the philosophy of running, and work together to help one another. Recognize when somebody is struggling, to help them. You can learn from that too, by the way. So I think the key is friendship. I love the team concept of cross country, where you run as a team, where you're helping one another and sharing knowledge. I think that pretty well wraps it up.
Do you still run on occasion?
Yes, I do still run, and it's normally every other day. I do a lot of mountain biking. I'm a very, very big biker because I can go out for a 6-hour bike ride, but I can't go out for a 6-hour run. And so and athletes have got to understand this too. You don't improve when you train. You improve when you recover. And as we get older, our recovery takes longer. So we just got to be respectful to allowing ourselves to exercise, but to recover. And so running is very much part of it. But I love to go to the gym. I love my yoga. I love my mountain biking. I love my swimming. I love my sailing, fishing, and I just love the outdoors. Hiking in the mountains is fabulous.
I cannot help but ask you about the New York City Marathon that you ran all those years ago. That was probably the single most dramatic ending that I've ever seen to any type of race. But when did you feel that you had the race won?
When I crossed the finish line. Yes, it's not over till it's over. And we've seen in years where athletes have started waving to the crowd up the home straight and they get pipped right on the line. So I knew as I passed Jeff Smith, the great English Jeff Smith, when I passed him and ran towards the finish line, I knew that I had to get to that finish line and cross the finish line before I celebrated.
Tell me about the allure of racing here in New York. What was it like for you, a native New Zealander, racing in the biggest and probably most popular marathon in the entire world?
Well, certainly I was fortunate enough that in the early 80s when I lived in Pennsylvania training road races, I made sure that I came to New York and ran in Central Park, in Van Cortlandt Park. I ran a lot of races to adjust and adapt to the environment. Now, I came and watched the marathon in 1981 and 82, and I was fortunate enough to go on the course and learn from what it was presenting to me. I watched the other runners, how they raced, and so by the time I committed to run that race, I had a pretty good idea. Fred LeBeau took me around the course at 5 o'clock one morning the year before, in the day, and just when the daylight was breaking, so that I could see the course at its most open moment and get an idea of the roadway, the surface, the corners, the highs and lows of Central Park. So I really knew that course every inch of the way before I ran it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you also competed in an Olympics many years ago, correct?
1972 in Munich, 1976 in Montreal, 1980 in Moscow, and 1984 in Los Angeles.
That's 4 consecutive Summer Olympics that you competed in. Which would you say was your favorite out of each discipline? Was it the Olympics or was it the marathon here?
I think when I won my Olympic medal in 1972, that was more Dixon in Wonderland. That was more, I was just a young 21-year-old. But by the time I ran New York City at the age of 33, that was the defining moment of my career and my life. And it really has shaped and prepared me for the rest of my life, and that is to inspire and motivate young kids to exercise, to be healthy, because they were born to move. And it's fabulous now that we've just over 500,000 kids have started my program that I started nearly 35 years ago.
You know, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because back in the 70s, not only were you part of the boom that inspired a lot of Americans and others to race, but it really inspired younger people to get involved in racing as a form of exercise. Do you see that from today's younger generation?
Well, what we're seeing, and my message to the kids, and most kids anywhere in the world know the storybook, Hare and the Tortoise. These kids know that the tortoise won the race, and slow and steady will win the race. Participation will win the race. And that's one thing that I am inspiring kids to believe, that it's okay to finish back in the pack, but you're participating, you're doing something that is very special and very unique. And very appropriately, the theme song is coming on. But it really is. But I'm meeting kids now that were in the program 10 years ago that are now in high school competing. And it might be soccer, it might be lacrosse, it might be football, or it might be cross country. But what they tell me is that what they learned in school in a non-competitive environment allowed them to build a love and passion for participation, and that they have gone on to now be competitive. And that is the journey I want kids to understand. That if you don't finish first, second, or third, you're a loser. We've got to get rid of that. And first, second, and third is not about participation.
Which would you say is the more important part of competing in long distance running? Is it speed, or is it stamina, or is it something else?
Well, it's actually a combination of both. So you really need to, first of all, you need to train, and you need to use your talents. And a lot of young kids are very talented with their speed. So be careful not to lose that. You lose it, and you don't use it. So the thing is as coaches, I talk to coaches about getting kids to do their natural speed, but to build their endurance through the aerobic running. So not long running, but steady workouts. So you're building your pyramid. That's what we want you to do.
What do you feel is the proper way to train?
Whoa. The proper way to train is slow and steady, just like the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. So be prepared. I mean, anybody who says to me they want to get off the sofa and run a marathon in 2 weeks, it's not going to happen. And so you've got to prepare, you've got to train, and you're going to go through an incredible journey of highs and lows during that training. But one thing you're going to end up with is knowing yourself a lot better.
Is there still a hope that you've set for yourself or for the long-distance running community in general? And if so, what would that be?
Well, my goal is to have 10 million kids in my run program in schools all over the world. I'm going to the Philippines and to the Middle East in January this year, and we're talking about getting kids run programs going in those countries. New Zealand, we're pretty good. This country's pretty good, but more should be done to get kids engaged in exercise. We've got the 3 S's. The S, S, S. S is for sugar, S is for sitting, and S is for screen. And that, we've got to stop this. We've got to get kids back out moving, getting exercise, and eating healthy.
It's so critical that you mentioned this, because more and more today's younger generation seems to be caring more about sitting and the screen and sugar than anything else. Is there anything that can be done to try and not necessarily take them away from sitting and the screen, but to take them away from sugar entirely and to have them geared more towards active types of lifestyle?
What I've found and what I've understood is that countries, it doesn't matter where you are, they do not seem to focus on early childhood education. And that is so essential, because you see there's no money in there. People can't make money out of kids, and that's why they don't focus on it. If we don't focus on the next generation, we're going to be in big trouble.
It is so great to have seen you again. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well,
continued success. Good luck to you.
Yeah, great. Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, here's a switch for you. Meet Jason. Not only is he DJing tonight, he is also involved in physical fitness here on Staten Island. It's really nice meeting you, Jason. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. This is a great event. We're celebrating 50 years of the SIAC Association, and it's a good opportunity to meet people, to network. And this is a new thing I'm doing. I'm promoting fitness and nutrition for people locally around the Tri-State area. It's called Transformation by Jason. It's my business where it involves me and a few other personal trainers and nutritional specialists here to transform people one person at a time, try to prevent chronic disease and promote fitness and wellness in people's lives.
Tell me about the day you decided to get involved in physical fitness.
Yeah, so I'm a registered nurse, and I see people every day with diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, peripheral vascular disease, and it's very debilitating, and it's very sad to see people go through this. And the problem is that they're not well informed, and they're not educated on the proper ways of nutrition and preventative ways from chronic disease. So coming from a anatomy and physiology background that I have experienced so far, I've been a nurse for 12 years, I want to make a difference in people's lives and do preventative medicine, which is this is what I'm doing with the business, is preventative medicine.
Is it too late for people who might be in the advanced stages of illness to try physical fitness?
Well, that's a very good question. Before we do any type of physical fitness, if you're coming from a sedentary lifestyle, you need an evaluation. And you need a doctor's note saying that you're okay to perform physical fitness. Now, it's never too late to go outside and go for a half-hour walk if you're able to do it. It's never too late to pick up some dumbbells while you're sitting in your chair and to do some curls, to do some overhead shoulder presses, it's never too late to keep moving. So the biggest thing is to keep moving. No matter what age you are, we appeal to all ages, especially those that want to perform better in athletic competitions, or people that are just sedentary and they want to make a change in their life. So it's very important to get an initial assessment. I do that before I train my clients, and then after that we go forward for goals. As you see on here, we do weight reduction, speed, strength, and power. A lot of people want weight reduction, which is great. Athletes would want power and speed, and some people that are going for that physical look, they would want strength and hypertrophy. So we appeal to all different needs of the clients. But the most important thing is to keep moving, no matter what you're doing. If you're not with a personal trainer, is to go outside, walk, keep active. Because the more sedentary we are, the more likely that you'll develop some type of chronic cardiovascular disease.
It's really interesting that you mention weight loss, because for the longest time, women have had major issues with body image, almost to the point where they've been body shamed. And they go through the wrong way of trying to lose weight. What is the correct way for women to try and not just lose weight, but also to try and stay fit?
It's a very good question. Now, women like to tone and lose weight. They also like to shape certain parts of their bodies. But for the losing weight part, is we always approach a calorie deficit diet, which that means is if your body is prone to eating 2,000 calories for a normal day of survival, which normally the sedentary lifestyle of a person is 2,000 calories, we'll format a diet which promotes you to maybe 1,200 calories. That's going to be hard, but you can do it. You just got to stick to it. Now, if you're eating at 800 calories negative, by the end of the week, you'll be down 1.5 pounds just by not eating as many calories as you're consuming. With physical fitness, on top of that, now you're burning a lot of fat. It also depends on what you're eating and what time you're eating it. So if you're eating a lot of carbohydrates at night, most likely your body's not going to use it for energy, and it's going to store it. And you know, for women, they store all over their bodies. Carbohydrates can be stored as fat if it's not being used. So women that want to tone, we like to have low carbohydrates in the morning. The rest of the day, proteins and vegetables, low calories, and once again, an active lifestyle where if you could do personal training with me or you go to the gym, you'll be in a calorie deficit mode and your body will start burning fat for energy.
What is the first thing you tell a potential client when they are ready to do an exercise?
Before an exercise, I'll show them the movement, and I'll assess their range of motion, and I'll tell them take a deep breath, don't think, and just do it. Just do it.
Jason, excellent job. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Continued success and good luck to you, sir.
Great.
What would this night be without the president of the Staten Island Athletic Club? It's Kristen Golat, and she was kind enough to take time out of a really busy schedule to join us. It's really nice to see you again. How are you, Kristen?
I'm good. How's everything with you? Good?
So far, so good. This is a really beautiful event that you have going on tonight. What does it mean to you to see so many Staten Islanders and other members of the community pay tribute to so many great people of the racing community?
See, a lot of people don't realize Staten Island has a very rich running community. And it goes deep, about 50, 60 years, and none of this is really talked about. So when I took over as president, I know we were about 50 or something years in, so I figured what better way to honor the club and honor people who began this club by having a party.
As the president of the club, tell me about the responsibilities that you have.
Oh goodness, we we do have a few races that we organize every year. So it's overseeing the races, overseeing the monthly meetings, managing membership, just, shaking hands, kissing babies, the usual president duties.
Can anybody be a member?
Anybody, walkers, runners, anybody age 8 to 80.
From what I understand, you're going to be participating in the New York City Marathon, correct?
Yes, this will be my 7th marathon, 5th New York, and I have 2 Philadelphias under my belt.
What is it like for you to race in probably the greatest spectacle in New York City sports?
Honestly, it has to be one of the most emotional things I've ever gone through. And as I tell everybody, running through the streets, you feel like Derek Jeter coming out of the dugout. Everybody's there for you, and you hit all 5 boroughs. It's one of the best running tours of New York City.
A little birdie told me that you are also racing for the memory of a very special young man. Tell me about this youngster.
So I run the marathon about every other year for Martin Richard. Unfortunately, Martin lost his life in the Boston Marathon bombing. He was only 8 years old. So his family set up a foundation called Team MR8, and they're based out of Boston. And they raise money for charities such as the Boys and Girls Club. They raise money for the Boston Police Department. And usually they'll just get about a group of 20 people, and we just continue to run in honor of Martin and support the community.
How did you get in contact with Martin's family?
So in 2014, I ran the Boston 10K, and I walked by the memorial, unfortunately, where the bombs went off. And I did a little research on Martin. I do teach 4th grade, so I was very interested in his life, his unfortunate short life. And I found that they were doing Team MR8 for the first time that year. So I entered my name in their lottery, and I was the only runner from Staten Island to represent them.
Is there a hope that the SIAC has set for themselves for the future? And if so, what would it be?
We just want to keep ourselves on the map as one of the most competitive yet family-friendly running clubs. So we want to keep that going, keep the tradition alive. There's a lot of people here tonight that are in their 80s, 70s, and I'm in my late 20s. I would like to be here again when I'm in my 80s. So it's just about keeping the tradition alive.
Great job what you're doing with the SIAC. Thank you. Thank you so much. Continued success. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Folks, before we sign off, I want to give a special word of thanks to a lot of good friends here at the Staten Island Athletic Club. From Jeff Benjamin to Rod Dixon and to several other people involved in the SIAC, and a special word of thanks to the people here at LaGressie Staten for always doing a great job of being a gracious host. That's going to do it for us. For everyone here, I'm Jamie. We hope to see you in the studio next week. Good night, everyone.